get away from me.
Get away.
If I was you, I watch what you say to me.
What you say?
Snakes all in my bed, wanna lay with me.
Lay with me?
This ain't no motherfucking game, why you play with me?
Aye.
Don't play
Aye.
with me, this the only thing I love. I love.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Kase Court Podcast. It's your boy Kase, the realest basketball fan alive, and I'm live from Las Vegas, Nevada, West Side. Thank you for tuning in, and today is the 5th episode of my 6-episode series of where I'm breaking down my 30-team fantasy basketball league. It's a dynasty league. Let me give you a background on what I'm talking about. As always, it's 9 categories, the standard categories. It's hosted on Fantrax. The competition is pretty brutal. We had our inaugural draft in August of 2019 over the span of 3 weeks, and what I'm doing in the 6th series of these episodes, I'm going over player values, who I like, who I don't like. I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet as possible, and today I'm looking at the Pacific Division, and that consists of the Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Clippers, Sacramento Kings, LA Lakers, and Phoenix Suns. So let's get right into it here with the Golden State Warriors. Let me pull them up real quick. All right, so in Golden State, we got Malcolm Brogdon, James Harden, Rudy Gay, Rui Hachimura, the rookie from Washington, you know what I'm talking about, Bobby Portis. And on the bench, we got Nick Batum, Wes Matthews, Kevin Porter Jr., Al-Farouq Aminu, Cam Johnson, Markieff Morris, and Thad Young. Okay, for Thad Young out there in Chicago, I don't know what kind of role he's going to have out there with the I don't know. He is good enough to start, but based on their current lineup, I don't see any room out there with Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr., and Otto Porter. So, but he, based on how he plays, I love his fantasy profile. We don't know where his career is going, but it could turn out to be a solid pick for you. Markieff Morris for Detroit. I think that's not a bad pick based on potential for opportunity out there in Detroit. Their front court isn't too crowded. And plus with Blake Griffin being so injury prone, Markieff Morris could have potential for a huge role. Cam Johnson out there in Phoenix. This is their rookie for this season, but I don't know how much of a role he's going to be playing out there with McCall Bridges and Kelly Oubre already handling the forward spot. So Cam Johnson, I mean, he was known as the best shooter in this draft, so we don't know. This could pan out to be a decent pick for you. Al-Farouq Aminu out there in Orlando, I don't think they signed him for no reason, so I think he's going to play a similar role that he did out there in Portland, which is sleeper numbers. If you had him, you know what I'm talking about. He'll give you some rebounds, and his stocks aren't high, but he helps across the board a little and doesn't hurt you anywhere really. Kevin Porter Jr. out there in Cleveland, I think he slid in this draft based on how quick young talent was taken off the board. Kevin Porter, I think he has opportunity out there in Cleveland to actually start, even though with Darius Garland and Colin Sexton manning the backcourt, I think him and Osman might fight for the starting small forward position or something like that. So, but we'll see. Kevin Porter, I think that was a nice pick. That was probably a sleeper within this draft. Wesley Matthews in Milwaukee, yes. I think they might be leaning more towards the younger wings, but I don't know. It's gonna be a roulette with the wings out there. They have quite a bit. But we know it all goes around Giannis. Whoever could play well, the best around him will get the most minutes. So we'll see how that pans out for you. Nicholas Batum, I think that's great value based on where he went. He went pretty late in this draft. Like I said, it's a dynasty, so these OGs kind of went pretty late. And then when you look at the roster, let me think. He might be. I think he's the best player in Charlotte right now. So could have a pretty huge season in front of him. Bobby Portis out there in New York, yes, he's. I mean, no matter where this guy goes, he's going to shoot the rock, and he's going to get you your rebounds. But the only issue is he's out there in New York. Like I say, it's going to be. The rotation is so questionable on a night-to-night basis. I don't know how reliable he's going to be, but he's a young guy. Solid pick. Center eligibility, which is a plus. Rui Hachimura, I think that's probably better. Out there in Washington, the rookie, yes, that's a huge opportunity out there for him, especially if they end up blowing this thing up. Wow, this could be a very nice pick for you. Even though I'm not huge on him as a player, but I could see his career kind of potentially rounding out to be kind of like a TJ Warren, which isn't bad. That's pretty solid. That's a pretty solid player. Rudy Gay. Out there in San Antonio, yeah, he's going to get his run. But based on who they got out there, I think he's one of those guys that are kind of older. We kind of forget about him, how good he is. So I think that's some nice value for you. James Harden, yes, he's a beast. I don't know what more can I say. I mean, he was by far the number one player last season. I guess between him and Anthony Davis, and they say even based on his season, if he took a huge step back, he would have still been a number one player. So even with Westbrook coming in, I know a lot of people are shy about his usage. I mean, this is Harden's team, so I don't see, even if he does take quite a step back, he's still going to be the number one or two player. So nice value. Malcolm Brogdon out there in Indiana, yeah. Very nice combo guard because that's what they're going to need around Oladipo and what they have over there. They're going to need. He's going to be very valuable for that team. So I think that's a pretty decent pick, even though you had to grab him quite early. I think that was that your second or third pick? Not a bad team. If I remember we talked about this being the team is like Harden and the Goons, because Harden doesn't have too much help, but. When you look at it, based on the depth and everything, this is a pretty solid team. Next up, we got Los Angeles Clippers. So let me pull up the Clippers. On the Clippers, we got Danny Green, Joe Harris, Otto Porter Jr., Miles Turner, Jared Allen, and then on the bench we got KCP. Yep, not the Kase Court Podcast. Kent Caldwell Pope. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. Aaron Holiday, Tyus Jones, Michael K. Gilchrist, Rodion Kurucs, Marvin Williams, and Cody Zeller. Yes, these pick of Cody Zeller, I think that's great value based on when he went. He went very late, and that center eligibility on top of that. Nice pick. Marvin Williams, same thing. Based on where he went, that's great value. You got a lot of these Charlotte guys. You got Cody Zeller, Marvin Williams, and Michael Kidd Gilchrist. I don't think Michael Kidd Gilchrist isn't a big numbers guy, which is what we care about. But I mean, he went late in the draft, 30-team league. Those three picks are pretty good value. Rodion Kurucs out there in Brooklyn. I like this guy's game. I like his future, but I don't know how. His future now pretty much depends on whether they end up trading him or how he plays beside KD and Irving. But for this upcoming season, it's going to be quite the battle between him and Taurean Prince. That's something interesting to look out for. Tyus Jones out there in Memphis, great value. He could potentially start beside Ja Morant it's a young team, and this guy is still very young. If you look at his history, he's a very solid player, and he should last in this league. So that's a really nice pick with a huge opportunity out there in Memphis. Aaron Holiday with Indiana. Yes, a lot of us are big fans of this guy, especially based on what his older brothers, have kind of paved the way for him. But yeah, Indiana has pretty much reloaded on their guards out there, so the wait on him blossoming might be longer than we wanted it to be. KCP, Caldwell Pope for the Lakers. Yes, he's going to get a lot of run out there in LA. So I think this is a very nice pick. And I mean, he's actually, for me personally, he is actually, I remember him along with Joe Ingles are actually my favorite fantasy players because of just their sneaky value. They can give you a lot of those threes and a lot of those steals that they can really offset what superstars like Chris Paul could kind of do. You know what I'm saying? So nice pick with KCP. Jared Allen out there in Brooklyn, even though, DeAndre Jordan came and smashed his party, but DeAndre Jordan is kind of getting older, and the thing with centers, they especially ones that rely a lot on athleticism, they don't last too long in the league. So Jarrett Allen's party, even though it's crashed right now, it might be popping again sooner than we expect. So a very nice pick. Miles Turner, yes, nice pick. Based on your build, I see what you're doing here, Miles Turner. I think based on what he showed us last year when Oladipo went down, that's the kind of player we expect from him. So hopefully he could put that all together when the whole team is on the floor. Otto Porter Jr. out there in Chicago, yes. This guy, he's always been a solid player. He looks even better out there in Chicago. So I really like his future and on where his career is going. Joe Harris. Out there in Brooklyn, yes, this is another guy that is he's a very efficient guy. So he really blends in with what you're doing here as far as Otto Porter, Miles Turner, Jarrett Allen. Yeah, this is a very solid build. Danny Green with the Lakers, yes, just like KCP, they're gonna rely on him a lot to play, just to be a solid 3-and-D all year long and through the playoffs, and he is pretty reliable. I like that. Very solid team overall, like I said. So next up, we got. We got Sacramento Kings. Okay, Sacramento Kings. We got Jaylen Brown, Marvin Bagley III, Jason Tatum, LaMarcus Aldridge, Jordan Bone, Jordan Clarkson, Romeo Langford, Miles Bridges, Admiral Schofield, PJ Washington, Thomas Bryant. And in IR, we got Kyle Anderson and John Wall. Yes, so John Wall is pretty nice value based on where you got him. We all shied away from him, of course, definitely. He is, when he returns, he's probably going to be, I don't want to say anything wrong right now. So I think he might be looking at 30, 31 when he returns from his injury. So maybe if he could work on his jump shot quite a bit, he could extend his career. So we'll see how that goes with you. But still, great value based on where he went. Kyle Anderson with Memphis, yes, there's a lot of opportunity out there in Memphis as always, but he did kind of disappoint based on what he can do last season. So this might be his last shot to kind of show us something. Well, maybe not around the league. Someone's going to pick him up if he doesn't flourish within Memphis. But this might be his last shot. He might be given a couple months in Memphis, and then they might hand the keys to the other young guards out there as they go into tank mode. Thomas Bryant, yes, same thing. He's going to be a starting center from jump, even tank mode. He's tank proof. I guess I would say so. Thomas Bryant, great value out there in Washington. Even the PJ Washington, which is funny. PJ Washington is up next out there in Charlotte. Charlotte is definitely a place with a lot of opportunity as well. So, yeah, I see you're pretty much woke on that with the PJ Washington pick, Admiral Schofield, and Miles Bridges. So, yeah, a lot of Charlotte and Washington stock you got in here, which is very smart. I like Miles Bridges' game as far as watching, watching goes, but we'll see what he develops into. Admiral Schofield, I don't think he's gonna have quite let's say a boom career, I would say, but as far as the opportunity given to him right now, that's great value. Same thing with PJ Washington. There's a lot of opportunity, but the talent with these guys I'm not that high on. Romeo Langford out there in Boston, he's actually the opposite of what I'm talking about. This guy, I'm actually high on his talent, but I'm not high on his opportunity. Like I said, Boston, and they're stacked with wings out there, and they're in a win now situation. So that's kind of hard on rookies to kind of live up to. Jordan Clarkson out there in Cleveland, yes. Whenever there's a trash team out there like that, you just jump on a score like this because he could just boom, and he's gonna drop 20 points on a consistent basis. Trust me. Jordan Bone, I'm not that aware about him that much, but out there in Detroit, I guess there could be potential if Derrick Rose and Reggie Jackson are hurt. Maybe they can give a rookie guard like that a chance, but I'm not that woke on his game. LaMarcus Aldridge out there in San Antonio. Yes, that was great value too. Just like I said, all these vets they slid in this draft. So they're gonna ride his back till the wheels fall off. And based on his game, I don't think they're gonna fall off too soon. He has quite a nice perimeter game, so it should age pretty well. Jason Tatum, I'm high on him this season. I actually think he's gonna make the All Star game this next season based on what Boston's record is gonna look like and what the opportunity he's gonna have without a black hole like Kyrie on the team. You know, Kemba is very team friendly. His game is team friendly. So Jason Tatum might take that step forward that we've been looking forward to, and I think could make the All Star game. Marvin Bagley, yes, I'm huge on him too. I'm a Duke fan, so I think this is a great pick. I think his game is great. His rookie season was slept on based on what Trey Young and Doncic were doing. So a lot of these big men are kind of slept on, and Bagley is probably one of those guys that's gonna be slept on. But man, he is a solid player, and he fits in today in the modern NBA. Jaylen Brown, yes, I think he's a solid player. He's a nice. He actually developed his jump shot, so he's a nice 3-and-D now. His athleticism, that's something that he came into the league. That was his brand pretty much. I don't know why he hasn't been in the dunk contest yet, but I'm not huge on him as far as fantasy goes. He's not a big numbers guy, but he's a nice young player. Maybe those numbers will start to come along as his game develops. So, well, we'll see. We'll see. Next up, we got the LA Lakers. So Los Angeles Lakers, we got Jeremy Lamb, CJ McCollum, Danilo Gallinari, Blake Griffin, JaVale McGee, Ryan Arcidiacono. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. But yeah, the guard that was getting heavy run out there in Chicago. Quinn Cook, Cam Reddish, Derrick Rose, Terrence Ross, Nermaine Jellica out there from Sacramento. I think someone told me his name is Bialika or something like that. Luke Cornett out there in Chicago. Okay, yes, I think Luke Cornett isn't bad value out there in Chicago, even though he's probably not going to get much run. But we don't know how healthy Wendell Carter Jr. is going to be, and I think he is like the backup center out there. So that could be some sneaky value down the line. Bialika, the forward out there in Sacramento, for some reason they loved running him. I'm not big on him getting so many minutes. I think they should focus more on some of the better talent. I think the guys with higher upside, I would say, but they did pay this man, so there is potential to run heavy minutes still. So not a bad gamble. Terrence Ross out there in Orlando. Yes, this guy is a scoring machine. I mean, they need that out there in Orlando, and I mean, I don't know. His stocks is slept on. That's another thing about him. Like his fantasy he has a pretty nice fantasy profile if you have the build that fits him. So very, very nice value. Derrick Rose out there in Detroit. Yeah, like I said in a previous episode, Dwayne Casey loves that double point guard lineup. So Derrick Rose, I think is he's gonna have as much run as his knees could handle. Cam Reddish out there in Atlanta. Yeah, it's gonna be quite the battle out there. Even though this guy was a lottery pick, we all are high on his talent. Like I said, I'm a Duke fan, so I want him to succeed. But I think there's gonna be quite the battle out there in Atlanta, especially in the wing position, because they do have quite the talent. Quinn Cook out there in LA, yes, that's another guy that's going to be in a position battle between him, Caruso, Rondo. It's a three-headed snake out there. So Quinn Cook, uh, another, like I said, another Duke guy. That's funny. Another Duke. But yeah, we don't. We'll see what their careers kind of turn into. They haven't really shown. Actually, Quinn Cook has shown 2 years ago, if you remember when Curry went down, that he could be a pretty solid fantasy guy. So if he could win the battle, yeah, that could be nice value. Ryan Arcidiacono, the guard out there in Chicago. Yeah, he got heavy run last season and he put up sleeper numbers, I would say, especially for assists. But I don't see him getting much run this season with what they have going on, except if injuries happen. JaVale McGee. Now, yeah, he's gonna get as much run. I guess with Dwight Howard, that kind of puts a little twist to his situation. So, but he's not a guy that really demands a lot of minutes anyway. So regardless, I think this was a sleeper pick based on where he went. I mean, his upside, he has top 50 upside just based on his blocks and his rebounds and his efficiency from field goal. So, great value, especially if a guy like Dwight Howard gets hurt or something. So, yeah, Blake Griffin out there in Detroit. Yeah, he's a monster. He is a. Actually, it's funny because this guy went from being one of the overrated players to one of the most underrated players in the league right now. So it's funny how the pendulum swings, and that. I mean, that's how life goes. That's how it goes with all the players. So Blake Griffin, solid pick just based on him being so underrated right now. Delino Gallinari, he was finally healthy last season, which I mean, he showed us what we know he could do. We know he could ball out. He's a straight up baller. But the issue is, can you stay on the court? So out there in OKC, like, they gonna need you, man. I've been telling people, like, this OKC team, if Gallinari can stay healthy, they're gonna push for that 8 spot. Don't sleep on this team. So Gallinari, that's a nice pick if he can stay healthy. CJ McCollum, same thing. I like him as a player in real life, but in fantasy, as far as it goes, if you do the right build, he's a great boost in areas. But if you're not, one of the best teams in, I would say, like, scoring threes and free throws and stuff like that, then CJ McCollum's value could kind of, it could kind of not impact your team as much. So. But that does look like your build right now, so which is a very solid pick for you right there. Jeremy Lamb out there in Indiana, yeah, like I said, Indiana has reloaded on guards and on wings, and this is one of them. I like this pick. He's a solid fantasy player. I think they're going to rely on him a lot, especially. I think the team is going to be pretty successful, and Jeremy Lamb is if he contributes positively, he's going to be a big part of that. And last but not least, we got the Phoenix Suns. All right, so Phoenix Suns, we got Chris Middleton, Ricky Rubio, DeAndre Hunter, Brandon Ingram, DeAndre Ayton, Torrey Craig, George Hill, Daniel House Jr., JJ Redick, Glenn Robinson, Taylor Horton Tucker, and DeAndre Jordan. All right. So DeAndre Jordan, yes, he's that's not a bad pick, I guess, out there in Brooklyn. They're probably, of course, they're gonna ride him till the wheels fall off. But who knows? If Jarrett Allen balls out, man, he could take this man's job, and he might be asking for. I don't know. We'll see. That's quite the wild card. But he went pretty late, so he can give you nice value. Taylor Horton Tucker. Yeah, I think based on where young guys went, I guess he went pretty late, but I don't know how much he's going to give you as far as numbers go, especially on a Lakers squad that is, even with Kuzma out indefinitely, a Lakers squad with Horton, how much he's going to contribute. Glenn Robinson, I think there's potential for him to contribute out there in Golden State, so that's a pretty solid pick. Like I said, even though they have a stacked starting lineup and whatnot, their bench is pretty much unproven. So any one of these guys could step up and have a huge role. JJ Redick out there in New Orleans. I like him as a player. Like I said, New Orleans is stacked. Why'd you go there? I guess he just wants to have fun with Zion and Lonzo. I guess so. But overall, JJ Redick, yeah, I think that's quite the wild card as well. We don't know what kind of role he's going to be having out there in New Orleans and how this team is going to perform. We expect them to kind of tinker around that 9-10 spot and scare people for the playoffs, but you never know how it's going to play out. Daniel House Jr. out there in Houston, yes, I could tell you within the Houston camp, we could see this guy starting, and we do like his game. So if you have the right build, yes, that could be a pretty solid pick for you. George Hill out there in Milwaukee, I don't know how big he's going to be throughout the regular season. I think they'll lean more towards like if guys like Sterling Brown and whatnot can step up. George Hill might be out of the picture for the most. For we'll see. He did have a couple good games in the playoffs, but this is the regular season. Torrey Craig out in Denver, same thing. He performed because Denver had a lot of injuries and there's a lot of opportunity out there. So I don't know how much Torrey Craig's going to be able to do this season or even in the future unless there's a lot of injuries ahead of him. DeAndre Ayton out there in Phoenix, yes, bright future, potential top 10 player, I would say. I don't know what much to say. I guess with a guy like Rubio, which you also have on your team. So let me talk about that duo. So I think Ricky Rubio was one of the most underrated additions of the offseason. So I think he's gonna be huge to both Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, who you have here, career. So great solid duo, and yeah, you're gonna be watching a lot of Phoenix games, and you're gonna be happy. Brandon Ingram out there in New Orleans. Yeah, New Orleans is stacked, but he's one of the core pieces, I would say. And yeah, even though he's not living up to potential, you can't lie that he's still a pretty solid scorer at this point. You know, everybody's so high on Kuzma because he's playing beyond our expectations, and they're so low on Ingram because he's playing behind like what we expected. But compare their careers, right? Like Kuzma isn't really outplaying Ingram by that much. So, yeah, something to put into perspective. DeAndre Hunter out there in Atlanta. I'm not big on his fantasy potential, but hey, if he could flourish, this guy could turn out to be a stocks and rebounds beast. So, not a bad pick, I guess. And then Chris Middleton, yes, the second star out there in Milwaukee. Yes, star. Don't sleep on Chris Middleton. He is a star. People try to act like it's only Giannis out there, but no. Middleton is a huge contributor. He fills the stat sheets. Yeah, solid, efficient player. This is a pretty solid team. So now at this point of the show, I look at the team that I feel the most within this division. And I will probably roll with the Los Angeles Clippers. Yeah, I really like your build of Miles Turner, Jarrett Allen, Otto Porter, Joe Harris, like KCP, and then you have some sleeper picks like Tyus Jones. Like I really like your build. It seems pretty definite. And players with this build usually slip in value. So guys like Otto Porter, I'm sure he slipped for you. This guy could put up top, 30 value on some weeks. So that's a pretty nice pick. So yeah, I like this Clipper squad because primarily because of punt build and the value of what these guys could do for your team where you got them. The team that I'm probably not feeling the most. The thing is that this division is pretty solid all across the board. See, you guys don't know how hard I have of a time of picking these. So if I had to pick the team, I am the realest basketball fan alive. So I'm gonna keep it 100. All right. So I am gonna give you a team. If I was to pick a team, I'm probably roll with the Sacramento Kings. Probably because Even though the duo of Bagley and Tatum is real nice, I love that duo and what it could be now and what it could be in the future. It's just the fact that they're so young and unproven. We don't know how well they'll be immediately. You feel me? And like I said, I'm not a big fan of in dynasty leagues, planning too far ahead into the future. So. But overall, you did get a lot of guys here with a lot of opportunity. So, see, that's the thing is like you did get a lot of young guys. To me, it kind of feels like you got, and that's the thing. You could win the championship if Tatum and Bagley turn to reliable players now. A lot of these guys that you have, like Admiral Schofield, PJ Washington, Thomas Bryant and whatnot, like if they perform now and if John Wall returns like next year, like you could be looking at you could be a contender like immediately. But I just had to pick a team, and if I was to project, I would probably say that this one won't come to fruition, but we'll see. Like I said, this is just my opinions. This is not facts. It goes, what this will come down to is team builds, matchups, injuries, and trades. And yes, that's it for today. Next time will be the last episode of this series. Yes, we'll be looking at my division, the Dirty Southwest Division. You feel me? Let's get it. So thank you for listening to Kase Court Podcast. This your boy Kase, the realest basketball fan alive, and I'm out.
Get away from me. If I was you, I'd watch what you say to me. Snakes all in my bed, wanna lay with me. This ain't no motherfucking game, why you play with me? Don't play with me, this the only thing I love.